tonight, why some seniors in public housing are being forced to move. A new projection for how much it will cost to refurbish coal plants. And how is Regina's waste management impacting the landfill?
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Some Regina seniors who reside in public housing say they are being forced out of their homes because of a new policy. The tenants are being asked to relocate to a seniors complex so their suburban apartments can be available for younger people. Wayne Mantika explains.
Deb Stumpf was surprised to receive a letter from Regina Housing saying she must vacate the one-bedroom apartment in which she has lived for the past 30 years.
If you choose not to transfer to senior housing, you will need to give notice to vacate and move to a place of your choice.
The tenants say they were told that Regina Housing is trying to free up more apartments for younger people.
I feel terrible. I got such a bad anxiety. I love it here. It's my home. I got friends and everything I need is right here. I don't want to move anywhere else.
The long-term tenant on Rochdale Boulevard believes she is one of 4 in the building who have received notice. Ricky Lama has lived in the building for 12 years.
You know, like when I moved in here, I was told I could live here forever. Had nothing to do with age at all. So, I mean, I can't, you know, there's got everything here, the pool next door for therapy for my legs and doctor. And
the NDP feel the change is unfair.
They're losing their sense of agency here. This is being taken out of their hands, and they're being treated more like a number or an object than a person. It's like playing musical chairs with people.
The provincial government says there is high demand for family units and that the change will better suit community needs. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Estimated costs for extending the life of Saskatchewan's coal power plants are now estimated to total $2.6 billion. That is according to SaskPower's written submission to the Saskatchewan Rate Review Panel, where external consultants clocked a figure that was much higher than the province's initial $900 million estimate. SaskPower said in the report extending coal wasn't chosen as the most cost-effective option, but instead a strategic move for energy certainty and security. The move is expected to save the province about $21 billion by 2050, and is according to the Crown. The Minister of Advanced Education and the Clerk of the Legislative Assembly are disputing claims from a former speaker. A recent CBC article alleges that Ken Cheveldayoff improperly subletted his constituency office to a law firm owned by a Sask Party donor. Cheveldayoff denied the allegation, saying he never profited from it, and at the time of entering what he called a split lease, there was no legislative rules around subletting or renting out constituency offices. In a statement today, former Speaker Randy Weeks claims he did not approve of the agreement, disputing Cheveldayoff's statement that it was permitted by 3 successive speakers.
The minister has been an elected official for 2 decades. He knew what he was doing was wrong, and it is shameful that he got away with it for so long.
But in a statement today, the clerk of the Legislative Assembly said as a matter of process, all former speakers, including Weeks, were made aware of Cheveldayoff's lease agreement and that he was not instructed to alter the arrangement until 2024. Cheveldayoff echoed that information from the clerk and says he has always been transparent about his arrangements with Legislative Assembly services. The provincial government announced today a transition of services that were previously provided by the Animal Protection Services of Saskatchewan. It will be now the Saskatchewan Animal Enforcement Agency operating animal welfare and safety services across the province, excluding the city of Regina. Of course, services here are provided by the Humane Society. The SAEA is responsible for enforcing the Animal Protection Act of 2018, which prevents animal distress, abuse, and neglect.
At this time, is a total of 10 staff. Our goal is to get 14. The number 14, the 4 others will be part-time individuals. Our plan is to incorporate young leaders to come on board, so that way they have an opportunity to see. So one from veterinarian colleges or vet techs, and the other one from police candidates.
Members of the public can report suspected animal cruelty or abuse to the SAEA by calling 306-382-0002 or visiting the website saskanimalenforcementagency.com. Well, it's been a little more than 2 years since food waste green bins were distributed to all Regina residents. So how much of an impact are the bins having on lowering the amount of trash that we see going to the landfill? Damian Smith found out at today's executive committee meeting.
A new report on Regina's waste plan has been presented to the executive committee, which shows progress has been made in recent years that could extend the life of the landfill by 3 years.
You know, it's a citywide effort that we've seen to be able to extend the life.
Since 2024, the city of Regina says waste diversion has nearly doubled from 20 to 40%, especially in residential neighborhoods.
So we're seeing great waste diversion and operations to defer that cost into the future.
It's a result of their innovation, trying to keep up with new technologies and things that we can utilize right here in Regina to extend the life, and whether that's equipment, whether that's engineering.
The city's long-term waste diversion goal is 65% by 2030. Challenges such as contamination still remain in recycling, which has climbed to 18%.
Our focus on the short term is definitely on reducing the recycling contamination, and so we're at that 18% right now. We want to see that down to 6% or lower.
Improper food sorting also remains an issue, with food waste accounting for nearly half of the wrong items being placed in the bins. In 2025, over 68,000 households in Regina were serviced with an average of 42 kilograms of food waste per unit. While waste management may never be perfect, the city will look to continue educating residents, especially before July 1st of 2027, when multifamily properties will be required to separate food and yard waste.
Really, we're trying to be effective in diversion, and so proper allocation in the right bins is a big part of that. And so that educational component for residents is big, to make sure that they're aware.
The landfill is now projected to close in 2053. The waste plan update will go before council for final approval on April 22nd, which also recommends reporting every 2 years instead of annually. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Well, if you're parking in Regina's downtown, be aware that changes to parking rules are now in effect. The changes include updated parking zones, rates, fines, and payment options. Coin-operated parking has been discontinued, leaving the pay-by-phone app or prepaid vouchers you can buy at City Hall as payment options. City officials say the changes help modernize Regina's parking systems. Parking costs are going up to $2.50 an hour in high-demand areas of the downtown, including areas around Scarth Street, 11th Avenue, and Victoria Park, all the way to Saskatchewan Drive. The other side of Victoria Avenue and another section on the other side of Broad Street will go down to $1.50 an hour. We'll have more details on the changes online at ctvnews.ca/Regina. And here's Sabine with your weather details for today. Not actually a bad day today.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, didn't get up to our normal average highs that we are usually used to seeing this time of year, but we still got to 0 for a daytime high. So a little warmer gradually, step by step. We're going to see a continued warm up as we head into the weekend. Cloudy conditions, though, so we didn't see as much melting as we saw for parts of southern Saskatchewan as we did yesterday. But like I said, the temperature will slowly start to climb, especially as we head into Easter weekend. Now, for reference, if we take a look at the almanac, the average daytime high is about 5-6 degrees. And like I said, just over 0 is what we got to today. And I mean, that's pretty on par for what we saw last year, also sitting just around 0. So heading into the rest of this week and into the weekend, that will change. And the only thing not changing is that we'll probably still continue to see some of this cloud cover continuing to stick around. Temperatures, though, still quite warm, plus 11 in Maple Creek right now. Not really having to worry much when it comes to wind chill. And that seems to be also a theme heading into the weekend. But I'll have details in the forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. The sentencing hearing for a Regina man found guilty of fatally stabbing a 19-year-old back in 2006 continued today. The court hearing from a psychologist who examined the man in December, a month after the 3-week trial. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more.
A psychologist shared the results of her examination of the man found guilty of killing 19-year-old Misha Pavlik in 2006. Although the man was charged as a youth, the Crown is seeking an adult sentence. On Wednesday, court heard impact statements from a psychologist and a supervisor from Saskatchewan's Community Corrections, both sharing assessments of the man found guilty of Pavlik's death. Pavlik was fatally stabbed at a high school graduation party held near Regina Beach on May 21st, 2006. After a nearly 20-year investigation, a 37-year-old Regina man, who was 17 at the time of Pavlik's death, was found guilty of second-degree murder in November of last year. He cannot be named due to the protections of the Youth Criminal Justice Act. A neuropsychologist examined Pavlik's killer a month after the trial and conviction. Dr. Myrna Verban-Sick told court she performed 14 different tests to determine his overall cognitive abilities, describing him as a low-level functioning person. Through cross-examination from defense lawyer Andrew Hitchcock, Verban-Sick agreed that life events that happened to the man between the age of 17 and his age now could have reduced his cognitive function. Earlier this week, the court heard impact statements from Pavlik's family and friends. The hearing will continue on Thursday as the Crown and defense prepare for closing sentencing submissions. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Drugs and electronic devices were seized at the Saskatchewan Penitentiary last week. On March the 28th, the Correctional Service of Canada says packages containing methamphetamine, THC concentrate, a lighter, rolling paper, as well as smartphone accessories were seized. The estimated institutional value of this was more than $139,000. The Correctional Service of Canada says it's increasing measures to prevent contraband from entering institutions, partnering with police to catch people trying to bring in unauthorized items into these correctional institutions. Saskatchewan doctors are calling for a careful approach as the province moves forward with involuntary treatment for people struggling with addictions. The Saskatchewan Medical Association and the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Saskatchewan say they share the Government of Saskatchewan's commitment to reducing preventable deaths and supporting people with severe substance abuse disorders. But both say they would like to see access to voluntary evidence-based care, mental health supports, and stable housing put first, and that any involuntary process carried out is safe, ethical, and grounded in evidence. The organizations are concerned that determining if a patient meets the threshold for involuntary care will be difficult without clear medical standards or strong evidence base. The province announced the Compassionate Intervention Act late last year, saying it is focused on meaningful long-term recovery for Saskatchewan residents who are struggling. Cardiac emergencies can happen to anyone at any time, and that's why the province is partnering up with the Health and Stroke Foundation to provide CPR training for grade 6 to 8 students all across Saskatchewan. Mick Favel tells us more.
On Christmas Eve 2024, Jory Meyer used CPR to save his father's life, thanks to training he received in high school.
When it happened, I wouldn't say I was calm by any means, but I think having those prior experiences with the CPR training just allowed my instincts to kick in the moment, and I'm really thankful with the outcome that we were able to have.
That same training will be available for all high school students in Saskatchewan. Cardiac arrest is an award-winning program intended to remove barriers of CPR education. The Ministry of Education is partnering with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, providing 1 hour of online training available to grade 8 to 10 students free of charge.
To get a sort of an overall view of CPR, the basics of CPR, I think it provides that opportunity for students at those ages and at those grade levels to learn some basics about CPR and perhaps be able to use them to one day save a life.
A cardiac arrest is a medical emergency. The heart stops beating suddenly and unexpectedly. According to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, a cardiac arrest happens every 9 minutes in Canada. On average, only 1 in 10 people survive.
There's lots of evidence out there that demonstrates the impacts of this in improving cardiac arrest survival rates, improving outcomes, and there's a ripple effect as well. Students learn these skills, they bring that home, they share it with their families.
CPR training for students in the province has been sporadic due to availability. Now with the Cardiac Crash program, it will be available in all schools starting this fall.
Any CPR is better than no CPR, and having that courage and having that awareness and having that comfortability of exposure to it, even at a young age, will only benefit our communities as those kids grow up.
Training could save the life of a stranger, or like Jory Meyer, the life of a loved one. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, Artemis II blasts off with Canadian Jeremy Hansen on board. And U.S. President Donald Trump will address the nation tonight on the war with Iran. Artemis II is on its way to the moon.
4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff.
The mission features Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen. He told his wife Catherine that he planned on becoming an astronaut after they met at 15 Wing Moose Jaw during his time as a fighter pilot, where she was watching her brother get his pilot wings. The Artemis mission will go around the moon before returning to Earth. On this mission, Hansen is making history as the first Canadian and first non-American to travel beyond Earth's orbit. There's a new battle brewing in the trade war between Canada and the U.S. American officials published a list of trade irritants with our country, pointing to the Buy Canadian policy as a bit of a thorny issue. Mike Locatour has more.
The country's iconic symbol of democracy will soon be protected by Canadian steel. During the next phase of renovations, the Peace Tower will be encased by steel scaffolding from Hamilton-based Walters Inc. But it may not have happened if not for the Buy Canadian provision.
It would have been more difficult, and the chances are that much of the material, at least the raw material, would have come from the United States as opposed to from Canada.
Now, as of December of last year, the government mandated that publicly funded infrastructure projects should prioritize Canadian workers and industries. Even though the U.S. has a similar provision, the American trade representative cited Canada's version as a trade irritant. The Minister for Canada-U.S. Trade downplayed the list of irritants, saying talks are continuing.
There was a high-level meeting this week in Washington between senior officials from Canada and the United States to discuss these and other issues. So none of this is surprising to us.
The removal of American liquor off many provincial store shelves is also on the list of irritants, as is Canada's Online Streaming Act and the Supply Management System, which restricts the import of American dairy, poultry, and eggs into this country. Meantime, Mexico is seemingly further ahead in trade negotiations with the U.S., engaging in technical discussions with the Americans.
I think the Canadian government is stalling for time. They think that Trump, my guess is they think Trump is weak. They want to sort of see if they can get this deferred into the midterms.
Minister LeBlanc says he'll continue to speak regularly with his American counterparts about the CUSMA review, even as the deadline to decide the deal's fate is just 3 months away. Mike Locatour, CTV News, Ottawa.
The federal government will refund passport fees to applicants if processing times exceed 30 business days under a new service guarantee. The immigration minister announced the policy this week and takes effect today with the goal of strengthening accountability. The clock will start when a complete application is received and end when the passport is printed and verified. Mailing time not included. The guarantee does not apply in all cases, excluding some administrative services or urgent applications. Sex offender Peter Nygard is suing the government of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, along with Winnipeg police and others, alleging charges he faced in one case were an abusive process. The former fashion mogul was charged in 2023 with sexually assaulting and unlawfully confining a woman in Winnipeg in 1993. Those charges were stayed in October after a judge ruled records of police interviews with the complainant in 1993 were destroyed without justifiable reasons, violating Nygard's right to a fair trial. Prosecutors had decided not to lay charges in 2020, but the Manitoba government later forwarded the investigation to Saskatchewan Justice for an independent review, and Nygard was arrested. In a statement of claim, Nygard's lawyers alleged 2 women, including the complainant, made defamatory statements. The Manitoba government acted improperly, and police were negligent. The claims have not been tested in court, and none of the defendants have filed statements of defense. U.S. President Donald Trump will address the nation tonight about the war with Iran. As gas prices skyrocket and consumers face price hikes on airfares and a threat of global recession, Trump says the end of the war is coming, but not before lashing out at NATO. Joy Malvin has the latest from Washington.
President Donald Trump says he intends to declare mission accomplished in Iran soon.
I would say that within 2 weeks, maybe 3, we're hitting them very hard.
They are. The Pentagon says it's hit more than 11,000 targets, blasting Iranian vessels, damaging Iran's ballistic missiles, and decapitating much of Iran's senior leadership. Trump posted this morning, Iran's new regime president, much less radicalized, has just asked the U.S. for a ceasefire. We will consider when Hormuz Strait is open, free, and and clear. But Iran's president was already president before the war. Tehran flatly rejects Trump's ceasefire claim, and Trump said it didn't matter if the strait was open or not. That critical waterway for global oil and shipping blocked by Tehran has sent oil and gas prices spiraling.
If France or some other country wants to get oil or gas, they'll go up through the strait and the Hormuz Strait. They'll go right up there and they'll be able to fend for themselves. We have nothing to do with it.
It's no secret Trump is upset with America's allies. France, Spain, and Italy. Even the UK initially denied airspace and military support to Trump.
This is not our war. We will not be drawn into the conflict.
Lashing out in a British newspaper, Trump said, "I'm strongly considering pulling out of NATO," calling the alliance a paper tiger, stating it's beyond reconsideration.
We are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street?
If Trump tried to pull out of NATO, he'd trigger a congressional and likely constitutional battle. The president telling Reuters he plans to criticize NATO tonight in his speech to the nation. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Coming up, Saskatoon takes their pranks seriously, whether it's April Fools or not.
All right, welcome back. Taking a look outside, it's just very cloudy, but no snow. It hasn't been snowing. It's just been cloudy. Currently sitting at 0 with the winds just under 30 kilometers an hour. And as we head into the end of this week, the clouds continue to stick around. Temperatures, though, gradually starting to warm up as we approach that long weekend. So taking a look at over the last couple of hours anyways, it's been just the clouds that have been continually rolling through. We do have some precipitation expected, but most of it is going to be staying in the southwest. And I'll show you that right now. There's a system coming in from the south. Most of it is directing its attention towards Alberta, but we will see a lot of that precipitation as it's making its way into Alberta, starting to creep into the southwest there. So as of right now, it looks like mostly Maple Creek will be affected, but it doesn't look like a large amount of snowfall totals coming through. Starting first thing in the morning, that's where we'll see that snow making its way into the Maple Creek area, and that's just going to stay there all day for the southwest. Starting to make its way around the Swift Current area, could see some trace amounts. Even Assiniboia could see a little bit of that snow as well. That system will clear out by the time we get into Friday morning. Still expecting to see some scattered flurries as you start your Friday in the southwest and even around the Saskatoon Wynyard area. We got some light flurries that's possible, but for the most part, it's going to continue to just stay mostly cloudy for much of the province, especially southern Saskatchewan. Until we get into Friday night, you can see the southwest starting to clear and then more precipitation arriving, but this time in the form of rain for parts just south of the Lloydminster area, even entering into Saskatoon, quite possibly just some scattered light rain showers. And then this is a look at the snowfall totals. So really nothing to show you heading into tomorrow morning. It's just cloudy conditions, but that is not correct. It should not be 10 centimeters of snow. It'll be more so. This is why this model always gets tricky. But in the southwest, I'm going to say it's more so anywhere between 1 to 3 centimeters of snow, not 10 centimeters of snow. We will see more snowfall totals coming into northern Saskatchewan, where we could see up to about 7-8 centimeters of snow around the Stony Rapids, even Buffalo Narrows area, but it's not 10. It is not 10 in Maple Creek. It'll be 1 to 3 centimeters of snow, similar to what we're seeing right across the board for southern Saskatchewan. Trace amounts for many parts. That model sometimes just likes to be finicky. Let's take a look at our temperatures heading into tomorrow. We're going to see those temperatures starting to bump up above 0, even for parts of the north. 3 degrees for La Loche and La Ronge, mostly cloudy conditions. 1 and cloudy for Lloydminster and Prince Albert. As we get into central Saskatchewan, North Battleford, cloudy and 1, 0 and cloudy for Saskatoon and Yorkton. Even the lows, we're going to start to see back into that seasonal range of around the -6, -7, and then even warmer in Southwest, dipping to 0 tonight for Maple Creek, warming up to 2, and then seeing that mixed precipitation that we saw on the map coming through the area. 1 for Swift Current, 2 and cloudy for Moose Jaw, in the southeast, looking at same temperatures there. 2 degrees for Weyburn and Assiniboia, 1 and cloudy for Estevan. For Regina tonight, -3. Will quite possibly see those winds picking up, gusting up to 50 kilometers an hour. And tomorrow, about a degree warmer than what we got to today. +1 is the expected daytime high, mostly cloudy with the winds at 45 kilometers an hour. And here's a look at what the next 7 days is looking like, and I'd say it's looking all right. 4 degrees by Friday. Good Friday, a mix of sun and cloud. Winds not too bad, up to 15 kilometers an hour. By Saturday, we will start to see a much warmer day and closer to average temperatures there. 7 degrees, mostly cloudy. By Sunday, cooling back down to 3 degrees, and starting Monday, again with 3 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. By Tuesday, as of right now, expecting to see it warming up to about 9 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud, and even by Wednesday, warming to 7 degrees. But the winds expecting to be gusting up to about 60 kilometers an hour with cloudy conditions. So we do have some really nice temperatures on the way. Easter is looking like it'll be a nice one. May not be as sunny as we'd like it to be, but still warmer, getting back into seasonal range.
So are the models playing a really bad late April Fool's joke on you? Is that kind of what they're doing with Maple Creek?
And even before coming to studio, it showed me 2 centimeters of snow, and now it bumped up to 10. So, and that's why I didn't want to show those models when we had that snow coming through last week, because there were some scary numbers on there. So 1 to 3 centimeters of snow for the Southwest.
Models. What are you going to do? Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Hey, for some, April 1st is a day, a time to celebrate, a birthday maybe, like our director Alex Palandri. For others, it's a chance to pull a prank, or April Fool's a friend. But Saskatoon doesn't wait for the calendar to play a joke. As Stacey Hine tells us, the city has a long history of stunts that have left residents surprised and confused.
A car dangling from the bridge. Radio hosts who fooled thousands. When it comes to jokes, Saskatoon takes them seriously. CFQC radio hosts Wally Stambuck and Denny Carr pulled off one of the city's most infamous hoaxes. On April 1st, 1975, as Canada switched from Fahrenheit to Celsius, they told listeners it was also moving to metric time. The day was reworked into 10 hours, each with 100 minutes, in a system known as Lorman-Collar time, a play on Celsius and the promo manager's Dutch roots.
Anders Celsius was a 17th century Swedish scientist. So I created Simon Lorman-Collar, a 17th century Dutch scientist.
Behind the scenes, staff worked to make it believable.
We had to make a chart for the announcers for every time they announced what time it was. They had to correspond it with the actual Lorman-Collar time.
Confusion quickly spread. Some people took watches to jewelers, asked about changing the city's clock tower, and even called Revenue Canada to ask how they'd be paid. A Saskatchewan MP even raised it in the House of Commons to then Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau.
Mr. Trudeau, you've gone too far. The people of Saskatchewan do not want metric time. And the response was, what are you talking about?
Carr and Stambuck eventually revealed it was just an April Fool's joke. But Saskatoon's pranks aren't limited to April Fool's Day. In 2017, one of the parrots from Earls flew the coop and landed on the traffic bridge. In 2002, a bright red car was suspended from the Broadway Bridge, weighing about 800 pounds. It wasn't the first time. In 1999, another red car was hung from the railway bridge. Many suspected engineering students were behind the stunts.
It definitely takes a lot of ingenuity, and engineers definitely have that creativity to do something like that.
In 2000, students placed a car on the university skywalk with a sign reading, "Nowhere else to park." And in a long-standing rivalry, it was even placed on top of the College of Agriculture. While many of these pranks are now a thing of the past, they're still remembered for the confusion, the laughter, and the reaction they sparked. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, the Pack Canadians and Moose Jaw Warriors look to earn a ticket to the TELUS Cup this week at Regionals in Regina. With Regina Pats currently embroiled in a first-round playoff series against the Medicine Hat Tigers, some fans online are scoffing at the price to get into the Brandt Centre. After taxes and fees, the cost of a single ticket for Game 4 on Wednesday was higher than $40, while for comparison, a fan of the Calgary Flames could have got into the Saddle Dome with under $35 to view a game against the Utah Mammoth.
Especially when Bedard left, started scaling back, and then this year, and I would say, oh goodness, it's probably been a season and a half since I've even been in person to a game. That we can stream the games online for free, and so I'll tune in every once in a while and watch the boys play.
Now, Jeremy there added that he would like to see prices lower to draw more fans into the building, try to create that home ice advantage for the players. CTV did reach out to the Regina Pats, but did not receive a response. Now, the Pats are looking to bounce back tonight after falling 8-2 to the Medicine Hat Tigers last night, giving the Tabbies a 2-1 series lead.
Shields it, hands it off to Stangram, drives past Wagner, in tight, scores!
Andrew Basha, a pair of goals as the Tigers chased Pats starting netminder Marek Schlenker in the second period after scoring 5 goals on 19 shots. Liam Pugh and Ruslan Karmov scored for the Pats. Despite the lopsided score, the Pats were not disgruntled with their effort.
I don't think we actually particularly played bad tonight, honestly. They buried some chances and we didn't. I felt like we had a couple prime chances in the second period and a couple real good grade A's, some good looks, and we just weren't burying them.
This is a 7-game series. Like, we knew that in the end, guys, there's going to be times where Medicine Hat's going to outplay us and we can win hockey games. And even when we win the hockey game, we should expect to be outplayed through times, and we need to feel comfortable in those moments that we're not being overwhelmed.
Into the slot.
So the Tigers leading 2-1. Puck drop tonight at the Brandt Centre, scheduled for 7 o'clock. Now, if the Pats are eliminated, young stars like Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh, they could still have some more hockey to play. Their under-18 AAA team they play for, the Pat Canadians, are hosting Western Regionals this week at the Cooperator Centre. As Don Vermees tells us, Regina won't be the only Saskatchewan team looking to earn that trip to the TELUS Cup.
The Regina Pat Canadians have completed the first step in successfully defending last year's national championship.
The Pat Canadians, gloves in the air for the second year running.
Winning the Saskatchewan male under-18 AAA provincial title for a second year in a row.
How we did it, I don't know. I think, just again, these guys worked hard. They do the little things and put the time in, and things worked out.
Last season, the Patsies went all the way to the TELUS Cup final.
Schultz closing, wrist shot, score!
Winning the national championship in overtime.
One-timer, scores early! Maddox Schultz!
Now they ready to host the regional qualifier to return to that tournament.
All year through the regular season, we play games and everyone wanted to beat the national champions, so we've been putting up with it all year.
We would have liked to come in the right way.
But Regina is not the only Saskatchewan team looking to punch their ticket to nationals.
Over to Larber, score!
With Regina hosting regionals, the Moose Jaw Winmar Warriors also earning a spot in the tournament.
For us to have this opportunity to be able to come in and be able to have a chance to go to nationals, it's our mindset is definitely focused to that.
And while it's not the way they wanted to qualify, the goal remains the same.
Our goal is to get there Sunday, and if that means that Regina's there as well, then we'll go at it for the, I don't know, however many time here this year.
They'll be just as geared up to play us, so of course it's gonna be a good tilt, and both teams will be fired up.
Now Moose Jaw opens their tournament Thursday afternoon against Winnipeg, with Regina getting started against Thunder Bay. The tournament runs through to the final on Sunday here at the Cooperators Arena. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Second round of the SJHL playoffs kick off on Friday. The Yorkton Terriers host the Battleford's North Stars, while the Weyburn Red Wings head to Flin Flon. The Bombers have lost just once at home all season, while the Wings, they're playing well heading into the semifinal series.
I think just our emotional stability, our emotional steadiness, I think has really come a long way in the last 6 games. And, I think that our guys understand the process of how to win right now. And, I think we're going to lean on that, and you're going to have that going into the Whitney Forum and against a good Bombers team that plays well there. And so, we're excited to get to it.
Now, of course, Weyburn has had recent success in Flin Flon. They upset the Bombers in 6 games to win last year's semi-final series. And sad news, former Regina Red Sox coach Scott Douglas has passed away. He coached the Sox for 4 seasons in 2006, 2007, and in 2014-2015. He was the manager for the inaugural season of the Regina Cyclones back in 1994. He also had head coaching experience at the collegiate level with Trinidad State Junior College for 12 seasons and Colorado Christian University for 1. Douglas was just 57 years old. Still ahead, the village of Smeaton mourns the loss of a community hub.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into, what day is it tomorrow? Thursday. Cloudy conditions continue, but those temperatures are slowly creeping up above 0. Some areas a little quicker than others. 3 degrees in Hudson Bay and cloudy, 0 for Spiritwood and Watrous, 2 for Meadow Lake and Outlook, 1 degree for Melfort, Lloydminster, Kindersley and Wynyard, expecting to be just below 0 at -1 with cloudy conditions. The closer we get to the southern border, a little warmer and a little bit more of that precipitation. The southwest expecting to see mixed precipitation, rain, snow mix for Maple Creek, east on Cypress. Maple Creek, 2 degrees. Leader also expecting to see some light snowfall there, 2 degrees there. Cloudy and 2 for Rosetown, Assiniboia, Rockland, 3 and cloudy for Cornack, 0 with some light snowfall for Carlisle, and Broadview 0 and cloudy, 1 degree and cloudy for Kenora, Lumsden and Pilot Butte. If we take a closer look at Springside, located just northwest of Yorkton, and where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. Tomorrow warming up to +1 with some cloudy conditions continuing and the winds picking up to 40 kilometers an hour.
The community of Smeaton, northeast of Prince Albert, reeling from the loss of one of its central buildings. The rec center, which houses a curling rink, hockey rink, and meeting rooms, had its roof collapse. Jasmine Pelche has more.
As the building roof fell, it come up a little further this way, and it hit.
Smeaton, a central Saskatchewan community of about 200, has lost its central hub following the collapse of the recreation center roof earlier this week. The 50-year-old building covered about an acre of land and was used for most community events. Ryan Reed has fond memories of the building.
This is where me and my friends pretty much grew up. We probably spent thousands of hours in the wintertime skating and running around and playing hockey and like right from every weekend, every day after school.
The building housed 3 sheets of curling ice, a rink, and an auditorium for village meetings. At one point, the building was also used for activities by the school.
All the roof over the skating and curling ice is totally what you see. It's on the ground.
The mayor says that the building saw a lot of use in the month leading up to the collapse, with a bonspiel, a skidoo rally, and a skating windup. And it was lucky the incident happened overnight when no one was inside. He says the building is likely 100% destroyed.
Small town Saskatchewan, I speak for all of them, I'm sure, don't have a lot of extra dollars to throw at this and get this thing fixed in a short time.
What remains of the building is high risk for further structural collapse, so fencing has been placed to keep people away from the area. Meanwhile, the mayor is not sure what's next for a community center in the area. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Smeaton.
The first annual Indigenous Students Business Dinner brought together students, community leaders, and employers last night. The event, hosted by Brooks HR Group, celebrated the achievements of Indigenous students and supported their growth as future community leaders. It also helped students build professional networks, develop networking skills, and gain experience in a formal business setting. Guests also got to hear from keynote speaker Cadmus Delorme, the first Indigenous Chancellor of the University of Regina.
I'm tired of trying to fit in. And you're just going to belong, and that's that feeling you got to get to, and you control that. I do that through helping people that are less off than me. I do that from constantly understanding who I am and why I do this.
Delorme was named Chancellor back in November. Oh, look at the farm markets. The street price down $3 to $662.53 cents per ton for canola. Futures price down $13.30 to $718.50 per ton. Amber durum wheat, $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat was down 16 cents to $278.54 per ton. Feed barley, $232, 1 cent per ton. Flax, $670.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge. The markets both up. TSX up 189 points. The Dow Jones by 224 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went down a little more than 1/10 of a cent to 72.01 cents US. On the commodity front, gold up $90.51. West Texas Intermediate crude down $1.26. Still about the $100 mark for the barrel of oil. Western Canadian Select crude went down $3.25. And gas in Regina is commonly found, if you look around, for $1.63.9 cents per liter.
Several media outlets say the largest stock market debut ever could happen in June. The draft registration could see SpaceX valued at $1.75 trillion. It would be the biggest ever listing. The last IPO that came close was Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia's energy company, in 2019. It was valued at $1.7 trillion. SpaceX designs and manufactures rockets and spacecraft. Go Easy reported a loss of close to $337 million in its latest quarter. The Ontario lender recently shared it's writing off $178 million in loans, which dragged down its stock price. Go Easy CEO also shared the company's let go of over 200 employees. Group Dynamite reported revenue that is up 45% year over year. The Canadian retailer earned close to $80 million in its latest quarter. It runs both Dynamite and garage stores and recently opened up 2 locations in the UK and plans to open more stores in the US. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Up your usual Wednesday lineup with The Masked Singer, Shark Tank, Scrubs at 10 o'clock, and E-Talk at 10:30. Then, of course, your national news at 11, 11:30 local news. No Big Bang Theory, unfortunately.
Thank you.
For Sabine. City of Yorkton getting in on the April Fool's jokes this morning.
That's right. They posted this image on social media announcing that they were going to introduce white snow bins to add to your bin collection, saying they'd be rolling out May 1st. While it's obviously a joke, some people in the comments seem to be in favor of the idea, of course.
Yeah, get rid of the snow out of your yard, but there's still,
But then it's...
Yeah.
Okay, well, and Yorkton wasn't the only community playing along. The city of Warming claimed help was on the way to get seniors around faster.
A seniors-only zip line has been approved. Clearly April Fool's prank. City claimed there are some who have physical challenges or issues getting transportation, so hopping on a zip line would help them not only get around but have some fun. And it actually did go on to say that the city said it entertained the idea of air balloons, but that would mean weather could be a factor. And shooting seniors out of cannons, quote, a number of the dummies we used during testing missed the mattress that was positioned at the end of the block.
Wow.
Maybe taking that April Fool's joke a little too far.
Gosh.
You can find a full roundup of all the April Fool's jokes that people tried from across the province on our website.
Play-Doh posted one this morning. I don't know if you saw it on social media, that they were coming out with a clear colored Play-Doh. It was just an empty.
Right. Just... You see, I don't look at any social media on April the 1st.
Yeah, it's hard.
There's no points. It's always going to be something ridiculous.
We couldn't even pull any pranks because it's afternoon.
Yeah, I thought we'd get somebody pulling a prank on us in the newsroom. Frank loves pranks in the newsroom.
Good old Frank.